We'd like to talk more about this new pope and his prospects for getting the Vatican's house in order. And back with us this morning, our sister Maureen Fiedler, a Roman Catholic nun and host of the public radio program Interfaith Voices, and the Reverend Paul Rauschenbusch, a Baptist minister and senior religion editor for the Huffington Post. It's so nice to see you with us again this weekend.
Good to be back.
It's becoming a nice tradition for us to have you here.
It is, yeah.
One of the big things that has just come out of the Pope's press conference is that he would like a poor church and a church for the poor. That's what he told the press. I see you shaking your head. Yeah. What do you think? Can he change things?
Yes, he can. I mean, he certainly at least can change the emphasis. I think that's one of the signals he was giving in choosing the name Francis, who of course is a saint of the poor, and also he has a tradition of living simply. And what I would hope would come from this, and what I would hope he means by this, is an emphasis on economic justice in the world and overcoming the economic inequality that we see in so many nations and across the globe. If he can change the emphasis from issues of sexuality to that emphasis, he's going to do a lot for the Catholic Church.
When we talked to you over the last couple of weeks, neither of you picked this man. No one saw this one coming, or did you?
Not on my short list.
No. And why not?
Well, he was an also-ran the last time around. He was considered too old for the job. Mm-hmm. He wasn't really, no one was talking about him. He was very silent.
Well, if he was too old for the job then, is he too old for the job now, do you think?
Well, I mean, he was considered too old for the job now. But you know what? We have to remember, John Paul XXIII was 77 when he was elected. And he was one of the great transformers of the church of the 20th century. Mm-hmm. There's a lot this Pope can do. I have to say, when I first saw it, I was shocked. I was, who is that coming out on the balcony?
Yeah.
And over the last 48 hours, I have been like, maybe the Holy Spirit really was at work in that conclave.
Mm-hmm. So why do we think that conclave chose him? What specifically about him would they like to see embraced by the church going forward?
I think one of the key ideas is that he's not a part of the Curia. He's not a part of the Vatican bureaucracy.
He's an outsider.
Exactly. And most of the cardinals going in wanted a reformer, somebody who can clean up that bureaucracy in Rome. So while he's trying to fashion a church for the poor, I hope he can also do something about that bureaucracy.
There was a lot of talk, and there was reports afterwards that Scola was the leader in the early voting, an Italian cardinal who was described as a reformer. And there were also reports that he ultimately was blocked. I mean, do you think that's likely?
Well, I think that the Italians really had a problem with Scola. They felt threatened by him, and also there were a lot of old envies and enmity within the Italians. They had the largest voting bloc, but that also meant that they could easily be split. And I think what happened is the Americans actually rallied around Bergoglio very quickly.
So you think it's the Americans possibly who helped this victory?
From what I've heard is that the Americans began to very quickly see this as a candidate. They wanted someone from the South, the global South, and they thought it would be great to have someone from the Americas. And I think that from what we've heard, they rallied around him very quickly.
I think Timothy Dolan probably had a hand in this. That's my guess, yes.
The Cardinal from New York.
The Cardinal from New York.
Because there was a lot of talk that there might be an American possibility as a pope.
There are some reports that Dolan even had a mini surge in the ballots at one point, and then it subsided in favor of Bergoglio.
Considering that he's the one who's been selected and Dolan backed him, does that give Dolan more power in the church overall?
It very possibly could. It's a political institution, among other things, and so it certainly can't hurt to have backed the right candidate.
So in the end, do you think this man is likely to bring change to the church, significant change?
Well, I have to say that I think he's already shown a really interesting sign. There are signs, there are reports from Italy today that he has actually asked Cardinal Law, who was a very controversial cardinal from Boston, he's banished him to a monastery. He's made him leave his church, which shows a real commitment. Yes.
Oh, I had not heard that. That's big.
And so he's showing already a commitment to take the child abuse scandal very seriously, and I think in his
that would be a significant change.
Very significant. Now these are early reports, but they've been confirmed in a couple places, and I think we're really seeing it's not just a style thing; it's a substance thing.
I think he's Thank you both.
Reverend Paul Rauschenbusch, Sister Maureen Fiedler, it's nice to see you here again.
Good
we look forward
to
seeing you again in the future.
Thanks so much for all your
help
the past few weeks.